Bernie Sanders did exactly what he needed to do in his recent interview with Dana Bash and CNN on State of the Union. The mainstream media has a tendency to pick up talking points from the right wing, pick up talking points from neoliberals. In other words, as it turns out, the debt is caused by all these entitlements that we pay out. Hogwash. Social Security is paid for by your FICA taxes, period. Secondly, Medicare is paid for. How? By your Medicare taxes, 3.8%, I think it is, on all your income. And, it even includes a certain amount of payments on capital gains, unlike FICA, unlike your certain other taxes. But again, the narrative that they want most Americans to believe is that somehow Medicare and Social Security are the ones that are burning or blowing a hole in the federal deficit, in the federal debt. I've shown you where those bills are. I don't know if you remember when we used to talk about lock boxes for putting away your Social Security money. When your Social Security money comes in, it just immediately goes out as part of the general funds, and an IOU is written to say, that money was placed there. The reality is we've made many adjustments to Social Security so that it is really self-sufficient. In other words, it's not being paid out of general funds. And the concern is that with the baby boomers and slower birth rates, etc., that would not be self-sustaining, but all of that could be protected by simply increasing the taxes, not on some false limit on your income, but to tax all income for Social Security, in which case Social Security would fall. So we cannot buy into the narrative that Social Security is busting the budget or that Medicare is busting the budget. All these things can be accounted for and paid for. What's busting the budget is we are not collecting the taxes necessary based on folks' income. And that's why we are migrating all our monies upwards. So when Dana Bash tries to imply to Bernie Sanders that somehow the problem is Medicare, he's talking about Medicaid, but Medicare is going to be a problem as well. Bernie Sanders did the right thing to school her, as we continuously try to school the rest of the population, that other countries are doing much better than we are because they handle healthcare better than we do. Not the best. Again, the best thing is that healthcare should not be in the for-profit domain at all. It should not be in the capitalist market at all, because when you're sick, you don't have choices. You can't say, you know what, your price is too high. I don't want the healthcare. You are, as a person who wants to live, as a person who wants to be there for their kids, you can't do that. So there's a monopoly for anybody. Just being in healthcare gives you a monopoly. Well, it's not really a monopoly, right? But some kind of a opoly. So listen to how Bernie Sanders handled Dana Bash, and then we'll get back on the other side.
You were talking mostly about Medicaid, which is already in this bill, those cuts that you were describing. One of the issues is Medicare, whether or not there will be changes in order for the Republicans to get votes amongst themselves. Medicare is one of the biggest drivers of federal spending. Are you concerned about America's runaway national debt, and would changes to entitlements like Medicare be necessary to try to rein that in?
Donna, let's talk about healthcare for a moment. As I hope most people know, not only are we the only major country on earth not to guarantee healthcare to all people, we are spending over twice as much per capita on healthcare as the people of any other country. The function of the American healthcare system is to make huge profits for the insurance companies and the drug companies. And if the Republicans are serious about cutting healthcare costs, you don't throw people off of Medicaid or Medicare. You have the guts to take on the insurance companies who are ripping off the American people every single day. We're spending $14,500 per person on healthcare. Outrageous, unsustainable. By far the highest prices in the world. But the Republicans would rather throw people off of Medicare, children off of Medicaid rather than take on the insurance companies or the power of the drug companies.
So, folks, let's be clear here. Let's be very, very clear. Don't let the false narrative that we need to cut Medicare. Don't go into the false narrative that we need to cut Social Security. We need to expand Social Security. Social Security needs to really mean what it's there for. Social Security, and we need to pay for it through taxes by taxing all income. Same applies to Medicare. We need to make sure that all income is taxed for Medicare, and above and beyond that, we need to get rid of Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is a fraud. It is nothing more than private insurance. Remember, there was a time private insurance did not insure old people because they cost too much. After the government decided to take and insure older people, then comes the private sector and say, okay, let me administer Medicare for you in a private manner. And of course, it makes no sense. It will never be, you can never get the private sector to be more efficient than the public sector, ever. The only reason that is there for that, a private sector, is for things that don't matter. You can choose to buy a dress or not. You can choose to go to a restaurant or not. You can choose to buy a car or not. Those things belong in the capitalist structure. But all the things that you absolutely depend on for your vital survival belongs in a collective market, in a public market, where it's not at the whims of some oligarch whether you'll live or die, whether you'll be whether you'll have success or not.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.